Mountain bike fans, welcome to Leisure in the Shadow of the Mont Blanc. We are here for the 7th round of the UCI Downhill World Cup this season, and it might be decisive. Jordan Williams is ahead, Finn Isles is actually injured, so he might not be competing for the championship, and further down we have Asa and Amory, who we know can both do very, very well here. We're going to walk down the track. I'm going to show you a bit the difference that there is compared to last year. I don't think there's been that many changes. From what I understand, it's been taped a lot wider than it was in previous years. So we'll go down through that, we'll talk to some of the riders, see some of the lines, and you will have a great lay of the land for when the riders come down on Saturday. This is the last European round of the year, so we expect the French and the European to send it even harder for this race. This project is still 100% self-funded at this stage, so if you like what I'm doing, you can purchase my custom t-shirts down the link in the description. You can also make donations if you'd like to do so. And if you're a brand that'd like to be part of the year-long narrative, please get in touch. I would love to work with you next year. So without further ado, let's get into Leger Track Walk 2026. Okay, so riders get off the gate, slap this couple corners and go onto this big flat section. Those couple corners have cleaned before. It's currently very dry, but we're supposed to get rain for Thursday, so I don't think it will stay that way. And because if it gets wet, it's going to get completely rotted out, and the compression's actually quite big when you go race pace. So watch out on those first 2 corners because you can actually get it wrong. Once you get off the couple corners in that small jump, you go into this flat section, which actually doesn't look like much, but it got really wet and really boggy last year, so it could be decisive. Like if you get it wrong or slide out, you might be in trouble.
Looks like pretty similar condition as last year, so I'm very excited about this. We still haven't had a mudder this year, so I will be very excited for one of them. So yeah, hopefully it starts raining tomorrow and we have tremendous conditions like last year.
Are you going to run flat pedals?
Yeah, if it's similar condition as last year, I will.
Succession of jumps, getting into the woods, nothing too technical, but it gets, once again, if it rains, it gets rotted out really bad, meaning you can get thrown out funny. And last year there was very deep ruts getting into that, so you couldn't miss the rut or that was game over for you. So this looks like nothing on the broadcast.
I want to get some burnout.
Looks like the smallest
Whilst I'm in Australia.
freaking jump, but where do you land when? About there?
You just going like about the middle.
11.2 meters. 11.2 meters.
Hey, do you know on my Bosch e-bike, do you have a Bosch e-bike?
I do have a Bosch e-bike.
Have you done the update where it measures your jump?
I have not, no.
Oh, do that and then you'll be able to check if it's correct.
Oh.
So when you jump this, you'll be able to check how far it is.
So if you have a Bosch e-bike, do the update so you can check out how long the jump is. Loris, getting into the woods last year started to get pretty sketchy straight up from there. How do you negotiate those first couple bits?
It was really hard because like the rhythm up top is fast and you coming in, it's like super ruddy and rooty. So like it's a big change, and also with the light, you couldn't see shit. So I guess I was struggling anyway, but people who did it well were like hopping things and like being really active and opening up things, going into the dirt patch instead of the roots. So yeah, I think that's the key, is like confidence and trying to carry speed into those weird, awkward, rooty bits.
So last year, this section of track behind me was absolutely decisive. There's an inside line, an outside line, and it cuts back into an inside, outside. There's a lot of line choices. The only problem is that once you get into that last section, you have to get into that rut and over that stump if you want to get carried on the outside, and it gets really, really slippery. And we saw last year a lot of riders losing the front. So there was a lot of line choice at training last year, but I believe it kind of came down to one line. However, there was definitely a bit of creativity going on even during the race run. So it'll be an interesting section to watch. I'm sure you've looked at the forecast.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
I'm pretty excited. Hopefully it comes through and we get a bit of rain. This one's usually pretty good in the rain. There's lots of roots and stuff. It looks loamy, but there's lots of snipers below it, and I think it's Leger. It nearly always rains, so it'd be a pity if it didn't. Obviously you're going to be hitting roots, and all the roots are all different ways. You're going to hit them regardless. The bike's going to move, and I think just being relaxed and allow the bike to move freely underneath you and almost go with the flow, that if the bike goes slightly offline, just to carry your momentum. Because as soon as you start even going slower, braking on the roots, that nearly even makes it worse. So a bit of momentum and just go with the flow and leave the bike move how it wants to move.
Following his first words, we've got a couple build-up corners. Nothing to it, but once again, if it gets wet, it gets really rutted out, so you don't want to get that wrong, otherwise you might lose a lot of time by just faffing around trying to get back in the rut. So this doesn't look like much, but last year people were coming in wide and trying to like get it wide for the next one, and I'm pretty sure there was people losing the front and hitting the trees and nose trees, just because it once again gets really slippery of all this. As you can see, there's some roots around, so it's real easy to just like lose the front or nose. The cool thing about this track is even though it might turn into one line eventually for finals, there's so many choices, especially at the top here. So see, you can kind of go inside or outside top, you can go in between the trees, there you can go outside the trees, and if you go outside the trees you can kind of pick back on this high line, or you can go in the middle, or you can go outside to the high line. There's like so many choices that riders will have to make, and it's actually going to be quite hard to pick because it's sunny today, it might be sunny tomorrow morning, but then it'll probably rain for quali and it'll dry out for finals. At least that's what the forecast is planning. So it's going to be really hard to decide what's fastest, because depending on the conditions, what fastest is different. So it'll be quite the challenging job for line spotters and for riders before finals. Coming out of the first woods, the rider have a bit of time to rest. It's kind of flat. There's a bit of pedaling, but mostly you'll see them readjusting the things that they need to readjust, pulling a tear off, stuff like that, before they drop into the second woods. So going into the woods, going and then there's tape quite wide, but no one will take that. Everyone's going to hit that corner and then pick up the speed for the next section. What's the trick to léger in the wet? How do you find it?
I think you just have to just get loose and just send it, like. I think also keeping an eye on the new lines opening up as well. Like there's always a better line like the next lap. It's weird, it just changes so much. I don't know about this year because it looks pretty hard packed, but.
So last year this section took no prisoners either because it was really slippery on this route, and that corner is actually not really that supportive when it's wet. So we saw a few people actually laying it down here. Coming out of second woods, it's pretty flat out. And we get into the last sketchy section before it gets very crowded. This caused a lot of issues last year. There's an inside line behind a tree and an outside line. And it was really hard to actually keep that inside line to go straight into that next one. In the dry, it wouldn't be an issue, but in the wet, it'll be very difficult. I've just heard Miriam Nicole saying that there's no point riding first tomorrow because the track's going to evolve so much and there's no ruts really there yet. So tomorrow morning will probably be just getting used to things. And how do you tackle like changing condition like this? It's supposed to be dry tomorrow morning, then a bit wet, then more wet, then dry again.
You have to lean on experience, which Ace is pretty young, so he doesn't have as much of, but he definitely has a good bank of racing junior races in those conditions that he can pull from. And then trusting on like us to help him with suggesting what the setup is, what tire choice, what pressures. Yeah, it's just something with changing conditions between practice and race. You can never really practice. You have to have experience racing like that. So you see like the older riders are normally better at getting that right than the younger riders.
See, this section is very nice and groomed so far, but last year was an absolute nightmare. Like people didn't even know how to ride this. There's a lot of crashes. You can actually jump there, but same thing last year, too ruddy, basically no one did it. We'll see how it evolves, but it's super steep. So this whole section, which was troublesome last year, they've made some pretty big changes. Like, so it's like way wider than it used to be, and also they've opened the log here like way more, meaning you can gap on the inside of the stump there, which I don't know if anyone's going to do it, but it would be mad. It would completely open for that next one. And I was just talking to Gwen just then, and he was saying in the dry it'd be so gnarly because you could get so fast into there, considering they've opened up this section and it's basically like a big wide highway. Ronan, back on the horse.
Yeah,
How
back-
excited are you?
Yeah, pretty keen. Yeah, been waiting for this for a good while, and yeah, we're back here in Leger, so can't complain. And the weather's looking, the schedule's looking pretty nice for it. Hopefully, it's a bit wetter. Usually, rides a bit better, better when it's like pissing down in like a river. So they've taken out a lot of routes actually. They've like cleaned it up quite a lot, but I don't think they'll make much of a difference because there's more routes down below. So I think it'll, honestly, I'd say come quality day, it's gonna look completely different. The berms are all this fresh stuff looks super nice, but it's gonna get pretty rutted up. But yeah, I think it'll look pretty similar to last year. Track's basically the same layout.
So last section corner, and this corner last year was actually kind of decisive because it got really wet, really slippery. The rope wasn't very good, and this jump is actually quite big at the back there. And so that corner actually could be decisive because if you miss it, then you'll go to the side and you're basically cooked. Amaury, Leger, a track you obviously have won here before, and it's going to be potentially similar condition to where you've won on. How are you feeling about this weekend?
Sorry, I was not focused on your question because I was looking at your t-shirt.
yeah.
It's insane.
So I think you're here.
Yeah,
here
it's
you
sick.
go. I've got one for you.
Oh, please, thank you. It's so sick. So about Leger. Leger, I don't know. It's good. Good to be back. It's been a long break, so it's weird to be back racing. But yeah, excited. Looking forward to it. Track looks way easier in the dry than in the wet. So track walk not so hard, but should be raining tomorrow. So it's gonna be quite a good carnage, I guess.
So this last section, flat out, they've added a berm there, which I don't know if they're going to use, and then a hip onto this last motorway section there. Leading the overall here, how are you feeling getting into a potentially wet Leger, which I'm sure you're very happy about?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. We had a good summer break, and usually I wouldn't be excited for the rain to come. So many people say, British die and whatever, but a lot of the stuff we ride at home is so hard packed, and you can ride it in the wet the same as you would in the dry. So yeah, it's the first time I'm really actually excited for the wet. Yeah, I feel like I'm slowly improving at it and getting better. I showed this year in Leogang that I had some better speed than I normally do. I did have a crash and hurt myself a bit, but yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I think this last bit, like, it's such a long straight with jumps. So carrying like good speed from like where the last split is, all the way down here, it's yeah, super important. I think you see in like races before, you can lose like a second or gain a second on some people. So it's yeah, it can make a big difference.
So final wall ride, and we're going to finish area, which will get stormed. Look, they've got new fences this year. I'm not really sure how that's going to hold. Probably not very well. Okay guys, so there wasn't much measuring today because there's not actually that many big jumps here. It's mostly small technical jumps that will be hard to hit in the wet. If you like the content, feel free to buy one of the sick custom t-shirts and make some donations. Down the link down in the description. There will be a training and qualification video coming out on Friday afternoon, so don't miss that. And I will be seeing you very soon.